This is the story of how the most anticipated rematch in boxing history was allegedly hijacked. In early 2026, fans were promised something they'd never seen before. Mayweather versus Pacquiao inside Las Vegas's Sphere, a $2.3 billion futuristic arena. People lost their minds. With Netflix behind it, fans thought it was a done deal, until an old money machine stepped in and killed that dream.
A lot of things has changed in the sport of boxing, and eventually I think within the next 48 hours either the Pacquiao fight should be done.
But it was the reason behind it that divided the boxing world. Why is MGM doing this now? And who really controls boxing in 2026? In this video, we will expose why MGM almost killed the fight that boxing fans have anticipated for 10 years. On February 23, 2026, Netflix dropped a bombshell announcement: Mayweather versus Pacquiao II was officially happening, and boxing fans completely lost it. First, Floyd Mayweather's perfect 50-0 record was officially back on the line.
I make mistakes, but I strive every day to be a perfectionist. And we all know God only made one thing perfect, and that's my boxing record.
Now the man trying to destroy it was Manny Pacquiao, the only 8-division world champion in boxing history, and arguably the most dangerous opponent Floyd has ever faced. Their first fight already shattered records with 4.6 million pay-per-view buys and more than $410 million in revenue. But despite all that money and hype, fans never felt satisfied with the ending. Fans waited years for closure, and we'll get into exactly why in a moment. But what made this even crazier was the timing. Mayweather is 49, Pacquiao is 47. This isn't a rivalry that gets another rematch in 2030. This is it, one final collision between two legends, with Mayweather's undefeated record hanging by a thread. And somehow, the spectacle got even bigger, because this was also announced as the first boxing match in Las Vegas Sphere history, one of the most futuristic arenas on Earth, hosting one of the biggest fights ever. And yes, this could easily become the most unforgettable fight night in boxing history. Fans were losing their minds imagining what boxing would even look like inside this metaverse of an arena. But unfortunately, fans could possibly never get that moment, because the second MGM, Vegas politics, and the people running boxing got involved, everything fell apart. So in this video, we're exposing everybody. What happened in Vegas isn't staying in Vegas anymore. But first, let's look at why Mayweather and Pacquiao's fights have always caused problems for the sport. So back in 2009, the entire boxing world was screaming for one fight. Now, Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao sat at the top of the pound-for-pound rankings simultaneously. And obviously, fans wanted to see them fight. An 8-page contract was drafted in December 2009, proposing a March 2010 fight date, a 50-50 purse split, and HBO pay-per-view distribution. They had the date, they had the money, they had the whole world watching. But then things began to go crazy. First, Mayweather demanded Olympic-style blood testing, something professional boxing had literally never used before. Pacquiao's camp said no, claiming drawing blood too close to a fight would weaken him. And that's how the war began. Bob Arum, Pacquiao's promoter, called Mayweather's demand bullshit. Mayweather's team fired back. If you have nothing to hide, why not comply? On December 30th, 2009, Pacquiao filed a defamation lawsuit over accusations of using performance-enhancing drugs. By January 6, 2010, the fight was declared dead. Just like that, the biggest fight in boxing was gone before it ever started. What followed was 5 straight years of almost making the deal. Almost saving boxing, almost giving fans the biggest fight on earth. But every single time, something fell apart at the last second. And behind all of it were two massive egos, Bob Arum at top rank and Floyd Mayweather Jr., running his own empire, who just couldn't get out of their own way long enough to make history. Then things got even messier. Mayweather signed a Showtime deal worth over $200 million in 2013, Pacquiao stayed with HBO, and suddenly, the network war became another problem. But the craziest part? The whole thing finally got resolved in the most random way possible. CBS president Les Moonves stepped in as the main deal maker. A Hollywood waiter randomly connected Pacquiao's trainer and Moonves. Then, by pure luck, Mayweather and Pacquiao ran into each other at a Miami Heat game in 2015, exchanged phone numbers, and within weeks, the deal was basically done. After 6 years of drama, lawsuits, and negotiations, it took a basketball game and a waiter to bring the big fight. On May 2, 2015, they finally fought. And the result was one of the most debated nights in sports history. Mayweather won a clear, unanimous decision, retaining his WBC and WBA welterweight titles while adding Pacquiao's WBO belt. The event shattered every financial record in boxing: 4.6 million pay-per-view buys, a $72 million live gate, and more than $600 million in total revenue. The richest night in boxing history. And the moment it ended, the controversy began. Within minutes of the final bell, Pacquiao revealed he had fought the whole fight with a torn rotator cuff.
Right now, because I fought a good fight, even though I hurt my shoulder, I didn't complain in the ring and like that. But the thing is, what we want to do is we cannot do because of my shoulder.
One question had been answered, and a bigger one had just been born. What happens when they do this again, and nobody's injured? Now, there is obviously massive hype for the rematch. But just like in 2015, recent behind-the-scenes drama has created the perfect opportunity for the people controlling boxing to start pulling strings. And that brings us to MGM. But to understand MGM's part in all this and just how manipulative this whole thing really is, you first need to understand how Fight Week money actually moves behind the scenes. Now, to get a good idea of how this works, let's revisit the money generated from the 2015 Mayweather versus Pacquiao fight. You see, the fight was a money-printing machine. The bout generated around $500 million in direct revenue alone, 4.4 million pay-per-view buys, a $72 million live gate, and average ticket prices of $4,450. Inside an arena that only held 16,219 people. Those are the numbers people know. But they only tell half the story. The other half is what happened to the city around it. In May 2015, Nevada casinos combined to make over $1 billion, the first time they'd crossed that threshold since December 2013. The state took in $62.8 million in taxes alone, a 14% year-over-year increase. 3.7 million people visited Las Vegas that month, with 91% of available hotel rooms filled. And that's before you understand how the hotel math actually works. The MGM Grand, the host site, raised its room rates by $900 to $1,000 per night the moment the fight was announced. The Wynn Las Vegas jumped from $250 to $950 per night. Circus, which normally ran under $60, went to $284. Most properties required a 2-night minimum. You couldn't just show up for fight night. You had to pay to be in the city. And people did. But it gets deeper than that. And this is the key to understanding what's happening now. The MGM Grand wasn't just hosting a fight. It was running a full-on money ecosystem. MGM Resorts International had exclusive rights to the closed-circuit broadcast across its properties and sold over 46,000 tickets for fight watch parties inside its resorts. So yeah, 46,000 people didn't just watch the fight. They spent the night gambling, eating, drinking, and losing money across MGM-owned casinos. Every dollar the fight generated didn't just stop at the gate. It spilled into hotels, restaurants, blackjack tables, nightclubs, and cycled straight back into MGM's ecosystem. And at the top, MGM's CEO even described it as one of the highest revenue per available room weekends in company history. And in case you think those numbers are just some 2015 anomaly, look at what just happened last year. According to TKO Group, the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight, combined with WrestleMania 41, generated a $626 million economic impact for Las Vegas alone. 2 events, 2 weekends, over $500 million of spillover money pouring into hotels, restaurants, gambling tables, and ride shares across the Strip. That's the economy MGM has spent 30 years engineering. So when a fight of this magnitude, Mayweather and Pacquiao, the most lucrative prize fight ever, looked like it was about to slip out of MGM's hands and into someone else's building, MGM didn't just shrug and wish them luck. They went to work. But the Sphere is a totally different beast. See, this futuristic arena doesn't come with a casino attached. No 14 properties quietly feeding off each other in the background. It's just the venue. And yeah, it looks insane. Probably the most visually advanced arena on the planet. But financially, it's a different game entirely. Sphere Entertainment Combourse makes most of its money from 2 things: tickets and venue licensing. That alone brought in the bulk of its $266 million revenue in Q1 2026. Basically, it collects what happens inside the building. And that's it. The show's over, everyone goes home. It doesn't own the hotel you sleep in or the slot machine you play at 2 a.m. For the rematch, this creates a real issue. You know, a bigger share of the revenue would have to come from broadcast rights and sponsorships, not ticket sales alone, since the Sphere's capacity is roughly the same as the MGM Grand's 16,000 seats. And here's the part almost nobody talks about. The Sphere has only ever hosted one major sporting event in its entire existence: UFC 306, the Riyadh season Noche UFC card back in 2024. And that show reportedly cost Dana White and Saudi Arabia's Turki Al-Sheikh tens of millions of dollars just to put on. We're talking close to a national tourism budget to stage a single fight night. Why? Because the Sphere's giant LED interior wasn't built for sports. It was built for concert residencies that can spread that production cost across dozens of shows. The Eagles, U2, Anima, they each book the place for weeks at a time. A one-night boxing event has no way to amortize that. So even before MGM started flexing, the Sphere math was already shaky. Add a casino-free model on top of that, and you've got a venue that looks like $1 billion on television, but bleeds money in the back office. Before we get to how MGM International hijacked the event, you need to understand what MGM actually is. You see, MGM's stranglehold on Las Vegas boxing started with one man, Kirk Kerkorian, an 8th grade dropout who became the Pacific Amateur Welterweight Champion, won 29 of 33 amateur bouts, and was never once knocked down. And that boxer, an actual boxer, who went on to own half the Las Vegas Strip. That's not a coincidence. Kerkorian eventually became the only person in history to build the world's largest hotel 3 consecutive times: the International, the original MGM Grand, and the new MGM. And off the Strip, he was a cold-hearted savage running hostile takeovers of several companies. On opening night of the MGM Grand in 1993, he looked at his team and said, "I want the world to forget that Caesar's Palace ever existed for boxing." And then he went and did exactly that, turning MGM Grand Garden Arena into the undisputed home of boxing for 30 years. The venue where Mayweather fought 11 consecutive times without ever once looking elsewhere. Think about that for a second. 11 consecutive professional fights under the same roof. Not because Floyd was lazy, because nobody else on the planet could deliver the package MGM did. Tickets, suites, casino comps, fight week parties at Hakkasan, the whole production. every Cinco de Mayo weekend, every Mexican Independence weekend. Those became unofficial holidays for boxing, largely because MGM turned them into religious events. When Mayweather built his TBE brand, MGM literally built the cathedral around him. So when somebody tries to move the biggest rematch of his entire career into a building MGM doesn't own, you better believe there are phones ringing in the background. So when people ask why MGM Resorts International is suddenly all over the Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch in 2026, they're asking the wrong question. The million-dollar question is, when has MGM ever not tried to control boxing money? They don't care about the Sphere's giant LED screens or the futuristic concert gimmicks. What they care about is the fact that the biggest money fight in boxing history was about to happen inside somebody else's building. And yeah, they absolutely hated that. And the wildest part is that nobody on Pacquiao's side was even pretending otherwise. In May, Yas Mather, the CEO of Manny Pacquiao Promotions, went on record with Ring Magazine's Mike Coppinger and basically said the quiet part out loud. His exact words: "We never wanted this at the Sphere. It didn't make economic sense for this event." That's not a fan complaint or some armchair analyst on Twitter. That's the lead promoter for one of the two fighters openly admitting the venue never made business sense from day one. Boxing Scene also pulled a quote from an industry official who spelled it out for everyone. "It made no sense to put it at the Sphere. It's not connected to a casino." Same source then warned ticket buyers to avoid any broker selling Sphere seats for this fight, saying it was 1,000,000% not happening there. Read that again. 1,000,000%. People were already getting scammed on the secondary market for a fight that was never actually going to happen in that building, which tells you exactly how chaotic this rollout has been from the start. But the craziest part? This time, MGM didn't even have to force its way in. Floyd Mayweather's own drama basically opened the door for them to get the conversation going. You see, for the past year, Mayweather has been drowning in financial drama that he absolutely does not want you talking about. The IRS filed a federal tax lien against him for $7.3 million in unpaid taxes. He came close to losing his Las Vegas strip club, Girl Collection, over $52,000 in back property taxes. $52,000 for a man whose entire brand is being the richest guy in the room. Then our boy got hit with a lawsuit over owing $105,000 for private jet fuel. And then it came out that he took a $54 million loan at a wild 9% interest rate. Mind you, this is the same guy whose whole brand is basically, "I have more money than everybody." The magazine that broke all of this? He's been in a legal battle with them for a year, trying to bury it. And it doesn't stop there. Mayweather also filed his own lawsuit against Showtime, seeking compensation for alleged misappropriated funds and punitive damages. Yes, the same network that paid him over $200 million during his Money Mayweather peak. So picture the full picture: a federal tax line, a stack of unpaid bills, a private war with a major business magazine, and a lawsuit against the network that built his fortune. The richest guy in the room is suddenly knocking on every door he can find. That's the real context behind why a 49-year-old, essentially 10 years retired boxer, was so desperate to lock down a 9-figure rematch in 2026. So when Mayweather started pushing hard for the Pacquiao rematch, everyone understood why. He needed a payday. The problem is, and this is where it gets interesting, he may have started doubting whether he could actually win. Because suddenly, out of nowhere, Mayweather begins showing up in interviews, calling their upcoming fight an exhibition. Not a real fight. Pacquiao's camp clearly rejected that idea. They had a signed agreement. Mayweather's 50-0 record was officially on the line. And they were in only if it was a real fight. The moment that switch happened wasn't subtle either. On March 28th, at a Caesars Palace meet and greet, Mayweather flipped publicly, telling reporters the September fight was just an exhibition not a sanctioned bout. That single comment lit Pacquiao Promotions on fire. Jas Mather went straight to the press, citing 3 separate signed agreements that explicitly defined the fight as a professional, sanctioned bout, and warned that if Mayweather actually walked, he could be staring at 9-figure damages in court. Advances had already been paid. Travel was already being booked. And Pacquiao's side made it crystal clear. They would not sign the next round of paperwork until Mayweather signed first. They were done getting played for the cameras. And while all that drama was bouncing through the press, Pacquiao quietly did something that almost flew under the radar. He set up his training base inside an old Mayweather Boxing Plus Fitness gym in Los Angeles and rebranded the entire facility as his own. Floyd's name came off the wall. Manny's went up. Symbolically, you can't send a more direct message than that. Eventually, the pressure worked. Mayweather formally agreed in writing that the rematch is a sanctioned professional fight, with his 50-0 record on the line against Pacquiao's 62-8-3. Reports have the bout going at a catchweight in the 152 to 153-pound range. The contract dispute officially cooled off. But by the time the dust settled, the door had already been kicked wide open, and MGM was standing right inside it. You see, it's difficult to say why Mayweather would refuse an actual fight with Pacquiao. But what we know for sure is that the dispute forced both sides back to the contract. And that crack, that one moment of legal vulnerability, was all MGM needed. And here's where the chess move happened. Right as the contract drama was unfolding, Sphere Las Vegas quietly announced a string of new dates for the Eagles' ongoing residency, including September 18th and September 19th, the exact weekend Manny Pacquiao Promotions had built the entire rematch around. With the band locked in, the fight was effectively locked out. The world watched the first boxing match in Sphere history disappear over a rock band's tour schedule. ESPN's Andreas Hale reported that everyone involved in Mayweather-Pacquiao 2 had gone radio silent after the news dropped. No Netflix update, no fighter posts, nothing. The entire promotion had effectively ghosted itself. Yardbarker inside the industry, the reaction was brutal. Eddie Hearn, the head of Matchroom Boxing, called the whole rollout a mess and openly questioned why Netflix put its name on the fight before contracts were even finalized. Frank Warren, the British Hall of Fame promoter, was even harsher, basically dismissing the entire bout as illegitimate and comparing it to the Tyson-Jake Paul circus from 2024. Behind the scenes, Netflix reportedly started building a contingency plan, slotting in a Conor Benn versus Ryan Garcia fight for September 12th as a fallback in case the rematch fell apart entirely. That's how shaky things got. But MGM had been waiting in the wings the entire time. With the Sphere out and the contract reopened, they stepped in, restructured the deal, and planted their flag on the biggest fight of 2026. Both T-Mobile Arena and MGM Grand Garden Arena were thrown into play. Reports floated alternate dates: August 15th, September 25th at T-Mobile, September 26th at MGM Grand Garden. But the constant in every single scenario was the same: an MGM-owned building with an MGM-owned casino feeding off of it. So yes, September 25th, it's going to be on MGM territory. The Sphere never stood a chance. And honestly, when you zoom out, it's almost poetic. The Sphere tried to muscle into MGM's 30-year stronghold on Vegas boxing and got swatted away by a rock band, a casino comp sheet, and a 30-year-old playbook written by an old amateur welterweight named Kirk Kerkorian. Meanwhile, Mayweather is staying busy with a Battle of the Legends exhibition against Greek kickboxing legend Mike Zambidis on June 27th in Athens, supposedly sharpening up before the real money fight. Pacquiao is training in a gym that literally used to have Floyd's name on the wall, and the boxing world is split right down the middle, half excited about one last collision between two all-time greats, half rolling their eyes at two guys in their late 40s being paid 9 figures to do this again. Either way, the fight is happening. just not the way fans were promised. The truth is, the Sphere story was always too good to be true. The biggest fight of 2026 was never going to leave the casino-driven ecosystem that built Vegas boxing in the first place. MGM didn't just win this round. They reminded everyone who actually runs this town. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories like this. See you in the next video.